Yo, what's up, guys? Had a great conversation the other night with Andy Bentley, and I want to make sure that you guys are able to listen to it right here, right now. So, without further ado, if you could, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. We're going to be putting out more videos like this, which are just helpful. We did a live stream the other night on Twitch and YouTube, and so we got to talk with chat a little bit, have a couple conversations. I'll link Andy's Twitch and YouTube down in the description below as well, so you can check him out there. But I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Yeah. I'm a lighting and video guy. Started in lighting and then realized that there are more important things, so I moved to video. I missed lighting. I'm just kidding. I kind of miss lighting. It's really fun and it's important. It is very important. But it's a lot easier than video. Whenever I thought I was doing lighting and it was hard, I'd moved to video and realized how much more difficult that is. Yeah.
So you're saying that video officially is more difficult than lighting is?
I mean, of the three disciplines, audio, video, and lighting, it requires the least amount of data. So,
lighting requires the least amount of data?
Yeah, I mean,
don't you literally run data to the fixtures? That's what they call it.
Yeah, but you talk about the amount of information. It's like DMX is still literally 8-bit. Sometimes it's 16-bit. But it's literally 0 to 255.
Do the bits require, like, if it was 16-bit, that just means it has more parameters, like more to it?
So, yeah, but there's still only 512 channels in a universe. I did the math on this one time. If you think about it, if your refresh rates, say it's 60 hertz or 60 frames a second, that is whatever the math on that is. So if we do, each channel is a byte, so 8 bits. So 1 byte times 512 is 1, obviously, times 60 is 30,000 bytes, which is 30 kilobits, 30 kilobytes.
Okay.
Per second.
So you're saying that
30 kilobytes. So one universe of data over the network is 30 kilobytes. 30.7 kilobytes per second.
That's tiny.
Yes.
Unless my mind is not wrapping around that.
So if you do 8 universes, that's only 240. Oh wow, this is pulling up. I've got to take this off screen. It's pulling up my emails.
Starts giving out passwords.
Oh my search history on here. Oh my gosh.
Don't worry, we're clean. It's just speed test and
no, yeah, it's nothing bad. It's just embarrassing
petabytes
stuff.
And it's stuff
things
like
I should know how to do.
How to tie your shoes.
Yeah.
If my dog eats chocolate, is he okay?
How to spell commissioning. Yeah.
Wait, so wait, that's 30 kilobytes is one lighting network, like entire universe. So the data transmission in an entire lighting network is like absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's practically nothing. I don't know if it actually runs at 60 frames a second. Every console is a little different, but yeah, it's like minuscule, or minuscule, as some of my friends will say.
But lighting can still take video or like data, metadata. Is it metadata, or what do you call it, bit mapping? When you bitmap, is that 60 FPS that comes into a lighting console, or does it have to be a certain like actual frame rate?
Yeah, it's whatever the frame rate of the video is.
Oh, okay.
30 or 60 or whatever.
Oh, so technically lighting consoles can take in video software or video encodes and things like that.
Yeah, but there's always something translating it to data, software or the console itself. So yeah.
But nonetheless, lighting is way less complicated than any of the other disciplines, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the data is there to prove it, specifically just because it's in kilobytes. An entire universe is 30. What you said, 30 kilobytes?
Oh yeah.
Dang. I feel like lighting just got cooked right there. Lighting just got cooked by actual factual data, not just speculation, but like true mathematics. So take that, lighting guys.
Bring in lighting facts.
Respectfully, of course. Vortex says that as someone who does all of it, video is so much easier. Don't mess with lighting.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Whatever you say. Whatever you say, Vortex.
Yeah, Patrick said that one universe works on dial-up is how little amount of data it takes. That's such a weird thing to think about, actually.
There are other factors at play, like packet loss and correction and all that stuff. That's, a big factor. But
I feel like the most complicated thing about lighting is just, you have to learn parameters. You have to learn about universes and like what fixtures do. Actually, no. The most complicated thing about lighting is like the people who built the lighting consoles. I feel like the lighting consoles could be so much more intuitive. Like you have to program it in order to make it intuitive. You can't just plug a light in and have a console and tell it to do X, Y, Z. It's pretty darn complicated, I feel like, in order to make it actually do what you want it to do. You have to learn oops. You know what I'm saying? Like MA3, is that a German console? Isn't that made by Germans?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like to me, I feel like the lighting industry is complicated only because you have to like basically speak another language, where video or even audio isn't quite as like, I don't know. I don't feel like it's another language per se. I feel like it's just like, do you feel like it's that? Do you feel like each discipline has its own type of language, or do you feel like is it lighting to me a little bit more complex?
I think lighting is just more inconsistent with the differences between the protocols or the consoles. It's
Right.
just it's harder to wrap your mind around the workflow of programming lights because you can do it so many different ways. Audio has compressors and gates and basic processing, gain structure, fader banks. Like for the most part, it's the same, and there's little workflow things that help you navigate through all those.
Mm-hmm.
But a lighting console is going to have a basic signal flow chain, a way to patch in and out, and some faders. Video switchers are going to have keyers, macros, a bus map. Like there's a lot more in depth to that, but lighting can be so much more, even down to like, how do I turn a light on a fader?
Right. You can't just
there's like
can't just say, hey,
18
turn on, turn off. Whereas a microphone, it's literally you plug it in, you patch it, and then either it needs phantom power or it works. You know?
Yeah, I mean it can be that simple. I'm not saying that video and audio are not simple.
Yeah.
Because there are consoles that are really complicated, but it's just like you go from Grand MA to Hog. Like I could go from an SD7 or an SD5 to an X32,
Mm-hmm.
and I could probably figure out how to pass audio.
Mm-hmm.
Go from an MA to a Hog or to Vista.
Very different.
And it's like you get to relearn a lot of the same. There are some similarities, like most everybody has a cue list or a sequence or something.
Yeah.
A programmer. There are some commonalities, but it's just the user experiences are so drastically different, I think.
Right. The first time I heard the term Hog, I thought people were like trolling. I was like, there's no way that there's actually a console called Hog, you know?
Hog.
I'm like, oh yeah, you used to run on that Hog. I was like, what is that just like an inside lighting joke where you guys call a console a Hog, but it's actually just like, I don't know, something.
Y'all got one of them Hog lights.
Yeah, one of them Hog
Y'all
boys.
got some of
One of
them
them big
very
boys.
lights.
One of them big boys that you just run lights on. I'm like, I thought it was just like a countryman's lighting console, the Hog.
A Hog, the Countryman. A Hog was a light board. A Countryman was any headset.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it wasn't even a brand. It was just literally like the type of headset.
No, that was a brand, but it became like, at least for my first assembly crew, it was like that's all they knew was the Countryman, you know.
So even a DPA
then,
something was a Countryman. The point source stuff was a
Yeah.
Countryman. Everything's just it's just a Countryman. Like no, it's
any
actually
moving light was a Vari-Light.
Oh, okay. But since then, everything's evolved. Things have
I
gotten
learned from the
names.
good old boys.
Brands have evolved and changed, which is wonderful. Okay, so lighting is complicated. Vortex says he uses a Hog. Rybe says he uses a Vista. Other churches use Vista.
Vista was my first love.
Yeah, I when my first experience with a lighting console, we were down in I was at Elevation Melbourne when I just moved down there in 2016, and they had the Chauvet Obey 7, little dinker, right? And I remember we stayed up till like 2 a.m. on Easter Eve. Trying to figure out, we're like reading manuals and trying to figure stuff out, trying to get the lights to chase, because for the longest time it was literally just like you would just click a color and that was literally all we did, and then we finally figured out you can like add a chase to like the fader or something like that, and then it'll like it'll like fade on and I fade off, and we just started losing our mind. I literally have a video on my phone, probably somewhere. I'll have to post it, but I have a video on my phone. I don't know if you remember Sean Montgomery, but we're like digging through this manual trying to figure this thing out, and finally got these things just like chase, like literally just like random colors chasing, and we're like freaking out, like this is the best thing ever, this is amazing, we've never seen this before, and felt like the most accomplished thing off of a Chauvet Obey 7.
Your first lighting chase is your rite of passage as a lighting guy.
Dude, it's like my lighting chase virginity.
I remember going to one Wednesday, my youth pastor was like, I want you to come in and figure out how to make the lights chase and like do lighting stuff. And I was so pumped. I was like gonna get there early. I was gonna like play with the console, figure it out and stuff. And then it got snowed out. It was like the week that a bunch of snow hit, and
so you spent
it got canceled. So I didn't even, like, we got there, but then they canceled it when we got there, because my dad was like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll drive.
Yeah.
I'll drive there anyway. But we got there and it was just like canceled. And so I didn't get to,
Dang.
I was so bummed. I didn't get to play that week.
Dang, dude. Just the absolute disappointment. Just
Yet I persisted. And here I am.
And yeah, here you are. What if that was it? What if that was it?
Most successful lighting designer to date. I don't think anyone has been more successful than I have.
Yeah, no. I mean, ultimately,
the lighting.
When you design, you know, when you put in the designs at the Sphere, what was your, were you kind of like, I don't know, man, that's kind of, I don't really do small stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like when they asked you, were you kind of like, this not really, that's kind of beneath me, or was it something that you were like, okay, like I guess I'll take time off of, you know, Coachella and other things like that?
Yes, I did have to turn down. I actually was going to do a project for SpaceX in the first concert on Mars with Beyonce.
I was gonna say, did they want you to do like a almost like a SpaceX type drone show?
Yes. Yes, but it worked out because they got delayed because of the Starship and everything. So then Sphere called and was like, "Hey, we want you to do Sphere," and I was like, "Perfect." The ball is literally my favorite shape. So it's a great fit.
Yeah, like it. So, I bet Link was just like on top of the moon because he was like, "Ball."
Yeah, big ball.
Like he heard you take that call and you're like, "Ball, play," and he just like
he lit up.
Dude's just like, "Wait, what? We're going to Vegas?" And he's like, "Yep."
Yeah, he's lighting up right now just talking about him. He's gonna say ball.
He's gonna start barking.
Ball, walk, outside, tree.
He's start barking. Well, that's good. Well, at least I'm glad you got to kind of fit the Sphere into your into your schedule. I know it's a pretty busy one. So, but was that more of a was that kind of like a? I mean, again, the Sphere LED is lighting at the end of the day. Like LED.
Every one of the it's not. There's no video content. People think it's video content.
Right.
No, every one of those is lighting.
Yeah.
It's a basically one effect.
Yeah, it's like one big. Yeah. It's like you kind of have to take. That's why again, lighting is so complicated. You have to take every single one of those universes, put them all together. However, millions or billions of pixels that is. Did they reach the letter B yet on those? The billions of pixels for the Sphere, or was it just in the millions?
Let's ask Chat.
Chat GPT, save us. Chat's like, dude, Andy designed the Sphere. Yeah. Vortex, you didn't know that Andy designed the Sphere? Yeah, dude. Come on. Lock in. I think he might be a little bit under on NDA. I don't know how much he could talk about it, but he's talking a little bit about it. I guess the NDA is way past at this point.
Oh.
How many?
256 million pixels.
Oh, not bad. So
that doesn't seem right. Didn't seem right.
It does sound small, but then again, what's that pixel pitch?
That does seem right. That's pretty big.
On the external or internal?
Megapixels. Internal. That's what it says.
So 256 million on the inside.
That's 256 megapixels.
What's that mean?
Like, a camera.
Oh.
You take a still shot, and it's like 50 megapixels or whatever.
But when you were designing it, you didn't really say like, hey, I need 256 million pixels. You were more so like, hey, guys, I want to be able to like paint. Basically like I need to be able to paint a story, a canvas here. So give me enough fixtures to be able to, I don't know, make a guy.
This is when my memes came back. Me labels every network cable twice. Also me can't find my hammer for 3 days. Me writes flawless Lewis scripts for QSYS. Also me patches 1912 wiring with duct tape at 1 a.m. Me keeps network audio latency under 2 milliseconds. Also me takes 2 years to fix a leaky faucet. That's true.
Dude, well, the thing is when you're here, here's my belief, and this is a very firm belief of mine, is that if you spend all day, you spend your life kind of, like it's your job to come up with solutions. When you get home, you know what I'm saying? Like
it's like a chef that doesn't eat their own food.
Yeah, it's like I cook all day long. I don't want to come home and cook. I would like DoorDash.
Yeah.
And maybe chefs do want to actually, I don't know, do that. But if it's me, dude, I'm not cooking.
None of them do.
I cook 24/7. I want to DoorDash where somebody else cook for me. You know what I mean? So, and that's why I tell Brie all the time. I'm like, that's why I haven't hung up, those shelves, and that's why I haven't, put those Christmas tree lights up.
So hard.
Yeah, we're working
so hard.
We're working 24/7. Solutions. We're solutions guys. That's why my cables to my TV downstairs my wife cable managed them. I did not. Like they were like all hanging out underneath the TV. I was like, I don't care about that. And
I know you don't want me cable managing stuff. I'm not good at that. Our install guys, whenever I put stuff in, they'll get so pissed because I mess it up.
They have to come behind you. They're like, Andy.
Yeah,
Andy, are you serious, dude? Again?
They just tell me don't even try because it's just gonna make it worse.
Dang. Rylan was talking about DPA, the Countryman. He said, what are your thoughts on the new native DPA mic transmitter and receivers? Did you see those at NAB?
No. The native DPA mic transmitters and receivers.
I did see the what was that thing from Sennheiser? It was like it was a two-way body pack. So it was a transmitter and receiver on off of one belt pack, which actually looked pretty darn cool.
I didn't get to go by Sennheiser.
Yeah, it's an all-in-one.
Okay, I've seen about this. A new micro lock connector
for DPA.
Yeah,
that's their new one. Justin had gotten
the handheld.
What?
Oh, it's a belt pack as well. The only thing I did really on the audio side, the only thing I did spend a lot of time talking to was the guys at Sound Devices.
Yeah.
Because they're doing a lot of really crazy high density stuff. But I just was like so skeptical of it because I'm like, how are you doing all this when none of the other big manufacturers are? Like, I asked the sales rep and he was just like, we're just smarter. I was like, okay. I mean, I guess like
thanks.
if that's true, that's great. But I'm,
you're like, thanks.
I'm a little skeptical.
Thanks. I think.
It's weird. So if I can rant on being an integrator and going to these trade shows, you have every manufacturer just like shoving their marketing and their new thing down your throat, which is what it's for. Like it's supposed to be. But it's so hard to walk through a show like that and not get distracted by like this flashy thing, this flashy thing, this flashy. Oh, this is so cool. And then you go talk to another integrator and or another, manufacturer, and they're like, and you talk about that and they're like, yeah, but it's got this issue and this issue and this issue. And you're like, well, I guess they didn't tell me about that.
Right.
It seems like maybe a little bit taboo to do, but you kind of have to talk about other manufacturers with other manufacturers to kind of get them to poke holes in each other.
Yeah.
Because I don't know enough on the manufacturing. And even like as a highly competent user, a lot of this stuff, I still don't know the ins and outs or the pros and cons of certain things because just manufacturers aren't going to tell you that. A lot of times they're not going to tell you like, hey, this is how our product sucks.
Right. It's almost like you need a community of people who use these products on the regular basis who can give real-time reviews.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like maybe like a community on Twitch or YouTube where like, maybe there's like a, one user who kind of like goes live, like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even, who knows, 5 times a week and just talks about, user experiences and how to improve those. I don't know. That would be crazy. That would be crazy, but it could be
cool.
Could be something popular that people would want to latch onto. You were saying about the manufacturers and stuff like that. NAB's like you go to the show floor to kind of like just see the products, and you have to go to dinners and after hour things in order to have real conversations and to like really learn about some of the things that are going on. I actually thought it was really funny. We were at Riedel, and the thing that struck me is like, wow, I'm talking to the guy that actually like made this and like coded this thing and developed it. Was just to me that was another layer of like, and they're like literally you talk to an engineer and then they take down notes and you're like, oh shoot, I'm talking to the guy who's literally gonna go home next week, evaluate his notes and see what he can do to code this thing and like add it back into, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought for me, that's like a really interesting side of NAB and even some of these trade shows is actually like, oh, I'm not just talking to sales guys. Like you're talking to the engineers who like do the thing, which I just thought that was kind of, I don't know. It's like another layer of like, oh shoot, you made this product that you're so excited about.
Yeah. Like honestly, the manufacturers that even if they don't have as good a product as the other guy, if they're listening to me and they're like actually listening to feedback. And then on top of that, I see a few months later, they've done something that maybe me and several other people have recommended.
Right.
Those are the people that I'm like, okay, I want to work with you because at some point everybody's going to end up in the same place. Everybody's kind of doing the same general things in their little industry. So if I can have input and feedback and somebody will listen to what I need, those are the people I want to work with.
For sure.
And obviously if I'm saying it, there's got to be other people saying it. If I'm the only one saying it, then fine. Like no manufacturer should pivot just because one person said something. But
the nice thing is that at least they take what you say to consideration. Like even if they're they're not whatever. That's the nice thing about some of the guys. There are sometimes you like mention something and then like some engineers will kind of like roll their eyes at you and you're just like, I mean it would be a nice feature to have. But I stopped by the RTS booth and was talking to the RTS guys and like. RTS is definitely much more up and coming than they have been in the past. Like they might not be like the top tier thing. And curious to hear your thoughts. But at least
Mhm.
the guy, I forget his name, but he was very well aware of RTS's position in the industry and the
Yeah.
innovations that they're making and the steps that they're taking to improve their product. And to me, it felt like a very real conversation of like, okay, this dude's not just trying to like be the top dog. He knows his lane, and like they know the products that they're trying to make and where they're making improvements and where they've been behind before and where the product has not been great. So like there's conversations like that too. That's like, whoa, that's great that you like actually know your position. You're not just trying to like sell me on something, you know?
Yeah, we love RTS. I mean, I didn't really like RTS until I started at Skylark because I never used it.
Right.
We had ClearCom, and I was just comfortable with ClearCom and familiar with it. And Riedel is like the top of the line. I mean, that's the Mercedes-Benz. That's, I mean, the Lamborghini, honestly, of comm systems.
Right.
So I always saw RTS as like, whatever, budget. It's actually really, really fantastic. Like,
And much more
Odin is
affordable.
yeah, it's so affordable. And the cool thing is like all their panels can work with either their Odin or their flagship, the Atom stuff.
Did you stop by Resi at all? I don't know if you
No,
somebody in my
just the new
right,
thing.
right. Tell me what they put or what they're doing at Resi. I didn't stop by either. I didn't get to see. Rylan was asking, is NAB worth the trip? Never been.
Yes, it's not worth the trip to go see just like products. That is, I know that's like the whole thing. That's what it's supposed to be. But the networking opportunities, like you never get to be face to face with like what Shep was just saying, you never get to be face to face with the engineer that actually made that thing.
Right.
To both learn about it, ask questions about it, and give feedback about it anywhere else but a trade show. Yes, it's cool to shop and like go around to the trade shows, and you'll see little things here and there that's like, oh, that specific thing solves a little issue that I might have, and that could be really cool. It's better than a website. Like I could pull up every NAB vendor website over the course of 3 days and go through all their products. That's
Right.
not an issue. Seeing them in person, seeing people in person is so much better. Plus the networking you get with other people that are there. A couple years ago, I had probably a 2-hour conversation with Rob McTavish at Brave Church about HDR
Mm-hmm.
and just learned so much from him out of nowhere. It was just like, let's, talk and meet and just hang out.
Yeah.
So go to dinner with your integrator or a manufacturer, get them to pay. That was rule number one when we were end users at NAB. Zach always told us like, you never pay for a meal.
Yeah.
Like at least dinner.
Yeah.
Always set some up to go out with a manufacturer or your integrator or something, and use the time to learn and build relationships.
Yeah. For sure.
If you're smaller, it's like it's a little harder when you don't have an actual project that you're working towards to go to a show like that and justify it. It's really easy if you're like, I have this project and I need to make sure that these few options are at least viable before getting demos. But it does not replace on-site demos. It does not replace like connecting with manufacturers, sales reps that you're going to need to use to actually do a project. But it's still 100% worth it, I think.
Yeah, I feel like the Monday and Tuesday, because most church guys come in on Sunday, come after Sunday because they have church Sunday morning. And then you do full day Monday, full day Tuesday, and the Wednesday is kind of like a half day. I feel like next year, I'd love to put like an actual Wednesday, be like, hey, Wednesday's coming up. Like, let's do like a big, almost like a tech director, like get together type thing, because then there's like a couple people went over to Central Church. I think it was Monday night maybe, and hung out. But then to have like a dedicated time, maybe Wednesday morning or something like that, just to like, all right, now that you've been at NAB for the past 2 days, like debrief, connect, grab coffee, like whatever. Because I think that like cool. that's the other piece too, that like I think if if you're not a people person and you're not just naturally going to go walk up to people either and have conversations, that is another really, really challenging part of NAB, is just being like, what do I even talk to these people about? Now, if you're nerding out about things and you're just, you're talking about those kind of stuff, then it's really easy to nerd out. But I think there's this reality of like, if you come by yourself or if you don't come with people, then, it's like, what do I even go to talk about? So that's one of the things I was thinking about. Like, dude, it'd be really cool to have like, hey guys, Wednesday, stay an extra day. Everyone is going to be over here at this, whatever, talk about what you learned, talk about what you're going to apply. Cause I think sometimes it's like you go home and it's just like, I'm so exhausted, you forget. And then your boss asked you, hey, what'd you learn at NAB? And you're like, so I got to,
where's my report, my follow-up?
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. So it's like, so yeah, about, anyways. So, and I think like, but I think being able to tell them like, yeah, so I got to talk to this manufacturer, that manufacturer, but I also made friends at, these other 6 other churches, across the country that are doing either similar projects, similar size as we are or whatever. So that could also be a cool thing.
Seems silly.
Yeah.
I bring business cards back, even though
Yeah.
we think kind of business cards are like the way of the past. It's really helpful because I can remember, like, I went to that booth. They're easy to put in your pocket. Like, I hate carrying a backpack around, by the way, or a swag bag.
Yeah.
But
there's plenty of opportunity for swag bags.
Yes, you don't need it. You don't need the stress ball, I promise. But yeah, I bring the business card back. It reminds me, we had this conversation. I need to follow up on this. I was really bad about taking notes this year. I used to be really good at that. So we'll see how it goes. But I also don't like to. Last year I went and I was taking notes so vigorously. I felt like I wasn't engaged in the conversation. I was having to look down every 10 seconds and
trying to take notes.
Yeah, and it was like I was like, hold on, just a second. Write for 30 seconds and then continue the conversation. It was like, I don't know, felt rude. So we'll see. But yes, the business cards are actually very helpful.
Yeah, I would take jot down names and like maybe like something to follow up with notes wise. I feel like that was really helpful. I think for me, like my big goal going this year was really networking, less on the it was nice to jump around to different booths and just like see what products people have and that kind of thing. But my big thing was networking. So it was like, if I'm meeting so many people, okay, who is this person? What do they work for? Maybe like 1 or 2 like extra notes or whatever. Follow up on this, follow up on that. And then my Monday, this upcoming Monday, is going to be just like follow up. Who am I following up with? Having conversations, scheduling meetings, whatever. I wonder what it's like on the manufacturing side, dude. Like imagine, we should actually talk to Matt Morgan, because imagine being at a booth, for they're there for like 8 days. They're not, because they get there before everybody else. They do a keynote, they do all kinds of stuff. And then they're there meeting like, they probably meet more people than we do, because they're like, everyone and their mama comes to their booth, people from the corporate world, people from the house of worship side of things. It's everything. And then it's also like, you're taking all your clients to dinner, you're taking your client, doing hangs.
Yeah, it's
like
something every night.
Like I can't imagine what that like manufacturer side is like.
This was the first year that we actually went. We got there Sunday, and I was there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I've usually only done 2 days max, maybe 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
But having all 4 days, basically,
mm-hmm.
Even then, I didn't get to see everything I wanted, just because the show is so huge.
Right,
it's crazy. But
you almost have to speed run.
Yeah, I will say like setting up meetings is kind of annoying sometimes, but it can be helpful to focus the day.
Right.
But sometimes I like that, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I like to just run around and do random stuff. Yeah, you almost have to like speed run a little bit. Give yourself a timer, like 15 minutes to talk to each booth. Like, and the timer goes off. Okay, man, appreciate your time. See ya. Yeah. I got Colby on here, and Rylan was just talking about tariffs. He said he feels like he waited too long to get his Unilumen. How much do you think the tariffs are going to affect all of our import and people purchase? Do you think tariffs, like, it's just to become the new norm? I don't know, dude. So I don't think anybody knows. That's the problem. The other day, I saw something where Apple shipped over like 5 planes were full worth of iPhones or something. And then someone said like, yeah, they're gonna sell them double the price, even though they got them before the tariffs hit. Yeah. And they were like, someone like they knew that like the tariffs were coming, so that they just like get all the product, and they're like, oh, sorry, it's hard to get. Well, we got to double the price because the product demand's so high. I think tariffs are gonna be the new inflation, where everybody's just gonna start charging more. Yeah. And then blame it on tariffs when it's like then the tariffs go away and they don't cut their prices. Yeah. It's like, oh no, this is just wait a second. That's the standard. This is the standard of the market. Hold on now. Something's not right here. Yeah, hold on. Well, everyone was paying that, so we just kept it. It's like, because they had to. Because you quite literally forced us to. Yeah. It's highly unfortunate for us. I think capitalism will win at the end of the day. We'll just stop buying stuff that costs too much. Yeah. Man, I doubt it. Probably not. I'm paying $3,000 for my next phone. Yeah, literally. And I was like, okay, iPhones are what, $1,000, $1,500. You pay monthly for it anyways, $30 to $45 a month. I don't do that. You pay it outright, all up front. But it doesn't. They don't charge interest on it when you do the monthly. I don't care. And most of the time, I trade my phone in early anyways, before I'm done paying it off. I do that too. So you pay the full thing. I just trade it in. No, I traded in so I get like $800 back.
Oh, I guess true. Oh, so you buy
Yeah.
things outright, then you trade it in, then you buy it outright and trade it. So instead of doing the subscription model where you trade it in, you just buy it out and send it back.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the best way to start freelancing?
Good question.
Joel Saculo asked.
Local AV company. Start small.
Start small, work hard.
You're going to be doing little trade shows or little conferences and running AV for a meeting room and setting up TVs and go from there.
Nicholas said, why is the standard 30 FPS and not 60 FPS? Why is it streamed in 1080p and not 4K 60?
What is
the streaming standard, period? Just overall. 5994 typically is like broadcast standard.
There's not a streaming standard.
Wait, so when it comes to streaming, broadcast is in 5994. Like the NFL and all that jazz is typically always 5994, right?
Sports broadcast, yeah.
But,
broadcast systems are typically run in 60 frames a second. But not all the content, obviously not all the content's in 5994.
Right.
You'll watch a show that's in 24 or whatever. I actually don't know how that works end to end. I'd assume what gets to your TV in streaming, obviously it's a little bit more flexible because if you're streaming on demand,
right,
the content could be in its native format and your TV is displaying that. But when you're running through it like a television channel, I assume like at a certain point the end point is 60 frames a second, and then the content, whatever the content comes in at, that's how it plays it out.
A packaged bucket, if you will.
A question for Jeremy.
Call him right now. Okay, top 5 band names. Brad said top 5 band names in Andy's notes. You have a note? You have a note full of band names?
Oh yeah. That's right.
Careful. It's gonna be your.
Boy, Drunk Nugget was his. Their first album is Sloshed Upon Arrival. Shades of Beige. I think that was John's.
Beige. What kind of band is that? Is that a jazz band?
Yeah, that would have to be a jazz band.
That feels very jazzy.
I think Brad wants me to throw out Cream Slingers. He had an ice cream sundae that he was being very aggressive with.
Oh, did you guys have a whole conversation up in Kentucky about this?
No, this was Monday. Dinner. That ice cream sundae, he was just flinging cream around.
Dude, that thing was delicious. That thing slapped.
Cream Slingers. Little Nick on the hot dog. I don't know. Half of these I don't even remember the context of it, but
who is Little Nick?
I don't know, but he's on the hot dog.
All dog, no bun.
Jared's.
Should be
Quiet Shutter. That was one of Jared's.
Oh, yeah, that's solid. All dog, no bun.
J-Mex hit me with Floating on the Grid.
Okay. That sounds like an indie, like almost like a punk rock band.
Yeah, like an electric indie.
Yeah.
Floating on the Grid.
Yeah.
Can't even begin to read them all. I'll slow release them.
A lot of people actually asked about what's your process for finding freelance opportunities. I don't know if that's me or if that's them, but literally, like, best way to start freelancing. What's your process for finding freelance opportunities? Oh, someone said, why is it called freelancing when the client still has to pay? Well, you see, a couple of people would just like to know.
Because you're free.
I guess I'm freelancing, I guess if you say. Yeah, but I also have like a parameter of like, okay, I know what I want to do and I know what I don't want to do. And so I wouldn't say it's quite, I guess it's freelancing, but at the same time, like I am semi-contractually, if you're freelancing, technically you're contractually obligated to do the job that you're being asked to lance. Where does freelancing even... Yeah, then I guess after you can change up and do something different. I think that's kind of the nice thing a little bit about it. Yeah, you're not tied to one thing, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of uncertainty in it. So you kind of have to make sure that you have, I would say a network is like the number one thing. Like the number one thing to freelance is build a network, period. Like
that's how I've gotten my last few jobs. And then those jobs go well and you meet somebody on that job. You're really great.
Yeah.
Then that person asks you to do something. And honestly, you have like one chance to actually do a good job.
Yeah.
And then after that, if that goes well, then you can kind of go from there. And at some point you will get a job and things go horribly, horribly wrong and you'll think it's the end of your career.
Yeah.
It won't be. As long as you built up some equity with people.
Right.
Usually you can get a second chance. I don't know. Maybe you run into a situation where you're asked not to never come back, but
sorry, man, you did this. Yeah, you did such a bad job. You're never coming back. That happens to people. That does happen. So when you get your freelancing job, when you get your little freelancing gig, don't mess up. Lock in. Yeah. Come prepared. What am I going to be doing? But loading in.
90% attitude though. Like if you show up and you're like fantastic, but you're an absolute pain to work with, I'm probably not inviting you back. I'll probably find somebody else that's a little bit easier to work with.
Yeah. being good at your
So-
job, but still not being good at the
Especially when you're
attitude.
starting. Like
Yeah.
you can't become an a-hole until you're really, really good at what you do, and nobody cares about your attitude on the job site, which is very, very few.
Yeah, true. Thoughts on Indie Pro Tools Terrace Mini Jib? I have no idea what that even is. A mini jib? Maybe.
Indie Pro Tools?
Yeah, Indie Pro Tools Tetris Mini, maybe is what you meant to say. Tetris Mini Jib. I saw a couple of jibs there, but I saw those big boys. The what are those called? The techno cranes, like the 3 different size techno cranes. Those are dope. Hudson Stafford owns one actually here locally in Charlotte.
Oh, you just put a Ronin on the end of it. Oh, that's cool as long as you like the Ronin or whatever gimbal is going to go on the end of it, because that's the kind of tricky part.
Having the right.
You got to balance, and
Yep.
you got to make sure your payload works. You got to make sure all the control goes up to it. I don't. Jibs are such a pain in the first place. I mean, they make a cool shot, but
actually, dude, I was talking with, I don't know if you know Grip. He is a jib operator based out of South Carolina.
Oh, cool.
He's
Different.
so he came up and serviced the jib at Valentine the other day because we were just having some wobbly fun things or whatever. So he came up, serviced it, did a great job. But then he told me about a tilted nucleus box that his friend made. And so you can use your regular jib controls, but those cables, they go and run into that tilted nucleus box. And then you run wireless. You run wireless motors to your actual like head. So then you're not having to fudge with like motors and all that kind of stuff for like for focus, for zoom, focus, and all that. So then you can still use your hand controls like you're on your normal Jimmy Jib, but then there's a... Have you seen that before?
No.
Dude,
I'm skeptical of running the lens controls wirelessly like that. I would assume you power them at least.
Yeah, it's called the Buzzy box for Jimmy Jibs. BUZ3 box for Jimmy Jibs. It's $800 and it pairs with the Tilta Nucleus M. So
the jib cables go in there.
Yep. So really cool solution, because I think we were having a problem where we couldn't figure out. I don't remember which.
Oh, it does go wired. Okay, cool. Yeah.
It does wired.
Yeah. No, that's great because the cables from the jib system are very. Although I will say Jimmy Jib, just the auto correct is really, really risky. All the sheet that's auto filling.
Yeah.
But they make a kit for cinema lenses. So the only thing I can think that's really good for is the cinema lenses.
Yeah.
Because they don't have servos on them.
Right.
But I thought that they had a kit. Yeah, they do. A cine lens drive system. It's just for focus and zoom, and then iris should. So this is essentially the Tilta motors, but Stanton video.
Right.
And then they make the cables. The cables go back to go up to the head. And the cables are built into the head. So these are the cables that they actually already have for zoom and focus. They the teeth, the gear ratio is set to cinema lenses.
Okay.
Yeah, 32 pitch. So essentially the same thing, but if you want to use the Tilta motors, this is your go-to. And you can do all 3 as well if you don't have iris control. Because there are some. This only works if you have a lens like the Duvo or Cabrio or something, or something that has auto iris or iris control.
Right.
Because they don't have one for iris.
Okay.
So, because it intends for you to do iris to the camera, assuming you're going to do an ROP or RCP or something.
Right.
This would be great for you do want to throw a full cinema lens like a Primista or something.
Yeah.
Even a DZO, something. The nucleus motors on it. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know about that.
There it is. Boom.
It seems like the kind of thing I don't want. Like as an end user, I would be down for that. It seems like the kind of thing as an integrator. There's too many parts that I don't necessarily want to do it.
Right.
I'd rather find a better solution to it.
Right.
But the Nucleus M. Well, this is so you don't have to use the Cyan View. So you can still use the jib stuff.
Because Cyan View is
But I
just
wonder if
Cat
you could do
5,
both.
right? Cyan View, you just run a Cat 5 to the Cyan View, and then that controls iris and all internal functions on the camera.
Yeah.
Which I guess Cyan View is wireless. You don't even need a Cat 5. I guess you don't need that.
But you can do zoom and focus with the Tilta stuff with the Cyan View controller.
Oh,
If
okay.
you network. I'm assuming Whopper SPG 9000 that's got to be Mitchell. Whopper SPG 9000A.
That's like this. That's
100% has to be
that's
Mitchell.
the sickest name, actually.
If it's not Mitchell, I'm
Gonna be-
very proud of whoever that is.
Yeah, actually,
That's cool though. Buzzbox. Yeah, it's Mitchell.
Dude, see, boom. See, yeah, learn something new every day. That's the key. You come in here and you have
So-
conversations and you figure crap out. Okay, wait, let me see if there's any more questions. And then I'm gonna go jump on some Warzone. Dude, this has been a productive hour. Okay, so we talked a little bit about NAB. We talked a little bit about the Buzzy Box. We talked about how to freelance and how to build a network. We talked about how to prepare your mind mentally for NAB. We didn't get into much of like the prior career things, which is completely fine.
Can I say a pro tip?
Yeah, go.
That you can clip this for socials.
Yep.
Pro tip for NAB: if you don't know where to start at a manufacturer booth, just go up and ask, "Hey, what's new to the show?" And then go from there.
And then from there, that's your opening line.
It's a good conversation starter.
Yeah. I've seen you use that like 10 times actually. I first saw you start using that at Infocom, and I was like, that's a really good question to ask, because then it like puts the manufacturer on the spot. And then if they say, oh, we then you're like, oh, okay,
My
cool.
favorite is when they're like, we have this thing prototype coming that might be launched later next year.
Yeah, yeah. That's the other cool part about NAB is that they'll kind of like allude to things that they're working on. They'll also talk about things that they won't officially announce, and they're like, yep, we're working on this. This is coming in January, or we're doing this, and this is, this should be ready by this time, which granted, is it going to be ready in January? I don't know. But it's still cool. Like, you don't see that on like forums or websites or anything like that. So sometimes you can get like a really cool inside scoop.
Mitchell just mentioned Agritment, which I never got to go by their booth, but I saw some cool stuff from them.
Dude, the pedestal. Is that what he's...
Yeah.
The 312 pan
bar.
bar.
He was talking about the pan. They have a set of pan bars and remote heads, but the I guess they call it the tower cam. Yeah, same deal.
Yeah, basically.
A ground supported lifting column, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, it was good. It goes up to it goes from 3 feet up to 30 feet tall. The one they had there was a medium. Do you remember seeing that one outside the Riedel booth? Yes. I think it was. That was their medium. Stupid. Yeah, because I was looking it up. I was like, dude, how crazy is that? And it goes,
I don't trust it.
32 feet tall, bro. Like, wait a minute. Hold on. That's a lot of people. Look at the person on the bottom right corner of that diagram. Like, stack like 8 people on top of each other.
That in Valentine would touch the ceiling.
It would actually. It would. Ceiling's only 24, I think.
yeah, you couldn't use that.
No, literally.
That'd be cool though. The medium or this one could be cool.
Yeah, that would be
small. The small and the extra small,
and I think it was the medium one that they had at NAB, maybe, or the small. I think it might have been the small, but it the footprint was really small too, which is always a good thing. Yeah. Like when it's not like a very huge wide base, and the base didn't look like it was anything crazy. So that was actually pretty dope.
Yeah, Mitchell. So this was something I was still trying to figure out when I was at Elevation, was getting the cameras. We moved the cameras to the middle of the floor in the room instead of the camera platform they're supposed to be on. So there's an 8x4 camera platform in the middle of the room that's 4 feet high.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of awkward. So we were looking at trying to get a lifting column or something to lower the footprint of that.
We demoed the Mark Roberts stuff, which worked really well. Davis,
cool. Owned by Nikon and also Nikon owns Red as well.
Agritment owns that company?
No. Mark Roberts.
Oh yes, correct. Yeah,
Nikon owns.
I thought you were talking about that. Nikon owns it, and so they're actually bringing another demo unit out to Davis for free to redo it, and like, because we had to jump through a couple of different loops and stuff like that in order to kind of get it up and running properly. And they were doing some more tweaking and testing and pushing updates even to make the responsiveness of the pan bars even faster, which was a huge. I was like, I feel like this thing should be completely like serial, which I believe the Furio stuff is all serial, which makes the response.
But they don't really make it anymore. They've kind of just deprecated that.
They cut the Furio stuff. Is there another pan? Is there another pan bars that's like the GOAT? Like, is there one that's like, is that what you're looking at right now?
Mitchell just mentioned this remote camera technology. There's another one they were looking at. Mitchell has the serial Furio stuff right now, so he's very much in the pan bars are probably top of mind for him in general. I mean, they have a system that's working and it's working great. It's probably not going anywhere for a long time, but I'm sure it's probably. Oh, okay, this is for PTZs. Yeah, that's cool. That's still cool. Like, I like the ad on here. There is no joy with joysticks. I can't tell you how many times manufacturers have tried to convince me that joysticks are a superior form of control than pan bars. And I'm like, I don't agree. I'm sure it is for like 90% of people, but specifically for Elevation, it's like trying to follow Pastor Steven with a joystick is like impossible.
Unless it was Even then, I was trying to think about like even like an Xbox controller or something like that. Even then, would not be great.
No, because you're going to use mouse instead.
Yeah.
Like every game, it's the same concept. It's like no gamer uses a joystick.
Yeah,
Everybody uses
the amount
mouse.
of what is it called? The amount of like it's like pivot points and stuff like that in your wrist that PC gamers use versus the like the ability of the thumb essentially. That's like always a big argument for PC gaming versus Xbox. But yeah, 100%. If I was using a mouse to track, that would actually, I mean, that'd be awesome. I think.
Oh, that's what the Follow Me system does. I think it's Follow Me. They use a mouse to track.
Really?
Yeah, so you can do automated stuff, but you can also do you can basically have a mouse pointer on screen, and you just, or maybe they do have the 3D mouse, but I feel like you can do it with the mouse too. He was saying this pan bar, the RCT Plus, the one of these, plus an FR7, with the 70 to 200.
Yeah,
God, these ads are moved too fast.
Yeah, that would be clean.
That would look really good. Very low profile.
Yep. Dude, especially an FR7 on it. Daggum, that's a teeny tiny little.
Throw that FR7. I'm gonna get Mitchell going right now.
Well,
FR7.
Do you prefer
log into a color box?
That thing's
5 graded.
Never looked better in its entire life. Wait, would you prefer the FR7 or the Canon PTZ stuff? Doesn't Canon have one with a full frame sensor that you can throw lenses on, as well, or is it just the FR7?
I don't think they do. I don't know though.
Rylan said Prestonwood has Follow Me on their lights. It was pretty slick.
Prestonwood has the Mark Roberts stuff as well.
Oh, sick.
No, I need to go down there and check it out. To see like a large scale deployment of, but I didn't see, unless they came out with something new. I think they just have a bunch of good looking PTZs, but nothing cinema style. Yeah, the CRN 300.
Oh, the 300 is a cinema looking PTZ, but not an actual cinema. Like you can't throw an actual lens on there.
It's a 2/3 inch sensor still.
So
but
that
it's 4K 30 or HD 60.
Okay.
20 times optical zoom. You're not going to get that with a cinema PTZ.
No, you're gonna lose that quality real quick. It's gonna start looking like Pac-Man.
John doesn't like that I'm talking about PTZs with color boxes and.
Hey, we should do a shootout. We should do a Sony. We should do the Sony FR7 versus like a Komodo or versus like another type of camera, and then throw it into a color box and see if you can tell the difference. Have somebody color it, and you think
FR7 is a great looking camera for any church that's like, I don't need.
You don't want a PTZ?
Hang on. No, Mitchell was just saying it's 1/2.3, not 2/3 inch.
Oh, the Canon lens,
like 1.5 something. 1 divided by, what's the difference?
1/2.3.
I'm gonna do the math off screen.
1.5.
1 inch sensor is not 1 inch. Oh, I've heard that rant before. But yeah, like an FR7 looks so good. So any church that's like, I don't want, I just want PTZ cameras.
Right.
I try to see if I can make it work to get them FR7s. Oh wow, yeah, 1/2.3 is way less.
So 1/2.3.
It's a very small sensor.
Okay.
I mean, still a good looking camera, I'm sure. I've not seen it myself, but for like I need PTZ, but my auto mod held a message for a reason. Mitchell talking about the Crozeal has a zoom motor for FR7 you could put on a 70 to 200.
Crozeal has a zoom motor for an FR7 that goes 70 to 200. That's pretty dope.
He accidentally.
And it says that. And Twitch said it
spelled zoom. He accidentally spelled, well, he meant to say zoom and he spelled it coom, COOM.
Yep.
So Twitch flagged it for being inappropriate.
Twitch gonna be angry. Twitch gonna be like, what the heck?
The coom motors. Good stuff. Well, this was a fun rant.
Yeah, this was great. Dude, we need to
so this is what, Mitchell tried to get me demonetized before I'm even monetized.
with the harassment term. That's so funny.
All right, well, this is what my stream is going to be, basically.
Honestly,
an hour or 2 hours of this.
Honestly,
tabs.
The move.
Lots of tabs.
Lots of looking things up, lots of having conversations in the chat. There we go. Well, Andy, appreciate you. You can continue on. I'm going to go take a break, eat some food, and then jump on Warzone. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't have enough people in chat to stay engaged for more than about 10 minutes, so
well, good.
I'm probably going to leave too.
Well.
Unless you want to keep talking about something.
Hey, chat.
I think Mitchell's the only one that's actually conversing with me right now. Maybe I'll have him on.
Honestly, you and Mitchell, I feel like would be able to go to town. See, you get like 1, 2, 3, 4, even 4 engineers, bro, talking about just stuff. Y'all be able to talk forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that would like You know, it's like you could go on for 4 hours just talking about random things, learning about stuff. See, and then what you need to do is you put together like a midday stream. Do like a 12 to 1, you know, a lunchtime stream. It's like, hey, we got Mitchell on. Hey, we got this guy on. We got that, whatever. And you just talk about stuff and you just open tabs and look at crap for.
Not a bad idea. All right, I gotta leave. Gomi wants me to do unspeakable things for $1. So this is the point where I bail.
Yeah,
I can't do it anymore.
This is where we're done with chat. All right, sick. All right, dude. Well, we'll chat soon.
All right. Bye stream.
See you
Bye,
guys.
Shep.